Welcome to OrienTalk. This is a place to learn anything Oriental. Please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell button if you like the video. Every year around the same time in China, an unknown force would mysteriously start to summon people all over the country together. This doesn't mean 2 or 10 or 1,000, but hundreds of millions of people. And here's what they have in common: a ticket in their pocket and a destination to reach. Now you have probably guessed this, or simply saw or heard of this term on the news. It's 春运, also called the largest annual human migration in the world. 春运 comes from the two-character Hanzi. The first character 春 usually means the season spring, but in this context, it's referring to the Spring Festival, dubbed the country's most important holiday, the holiday that celebrates the beginning of a new year on the lunar Chinese calendar. The second character 运, which has multiple meanings when it's as a single character. It can mean luck, it can mean fate, but here it says 运输, simply meaning transport or to move. So together they form the phrase 春运, the Spring Festival travel rush. Now that you know the origin of the words, let's take a look at some numbers that would definitely blow your mind. According to published data from the Chinese Ministry of Transport, during the 2019 春运 period, in a span of around 40 days, there were a total of 3 billion passenger journeys which took place over the holiday. Among those, 41 million people chose to use the water transport, which in total utilized around 20,000 boats on a daily basis. Another 74 million journeys happened in the sky. In order to accommodate the demand, 12.5 million flights were taken around the country. And for the more economic option, 400 million trips were finished on a railroad, meaning the train network took around 11 million Chinese people home during the 春运 period. And for the rest of the 2.5 billion journeys, they were all pretty much stuck on the road, whether it was by bus or driving back to their hometowns. So why do Chinese people still choose to travel during this frenzied holiday rush? Simply speaking, 3 main factors are responsible for this heightened traffic load. First, it is a long-held tradition for most Chinese people to go back to their families during Chinese New Year. Specifically, on New Year's Eve, nearly all of people would return home to have 年夜饭, which is a form of reunion dinner, pretty much the best meal of the year. Secondly, 教育改革, known as the Chinese education reforms. It drastically increased the number of college students in China, which is a good thing, but they often study outside of their hometown. And since the winter break is around the same time as the Spring Festival, after a long term at school, the students usually choose to go back to home, to see their friends and families. Finally, because the Spring Festival period is one of the 7-day holiday periods in China, the only other one being National Day, October 1st. So because of the long holiday, many people choose to travel for pleasure around this time. And with the economic boom, tourism in mainland China has been reaching record levels, further adding pressure on the transportation system. Those are the 3 obvious factors which contribute to the size of the spring break. But is that all? The simple answer is no. Deep down, there are definitely some more underlying reasons which causes this to happen. Let's take a look. First, it's due to the uneven economic development. Since the reform and opening up, called 改革开放, the Chinese government has begun to encourage entrepreneurship, and the restrictions on the movement of people have also begun to relax. Therefore, a large number of people from underdeveloped rural areas start moving into more developed urban areas to seek employment, resulting in a large flow of manpower. These people who left their homes to work in other places then became the main crowd of travel rush during the Spring Festival. Secondly is the insufficient transporting power. The current established transportation network cannot fully meet the demand during 春运. Even though the Chinese railway length is top 2 in the world, but per capita-wise, it's only sitting at 10 centimeters per person, which is much lower compared to the 49 centimeters in US, creating the problem of multiple people fighting for one ticket. Third one is due to the few long holidays. As I briefly mentioned before, Spring Festival is one of the only 2 7-day statutory holidays in China. With not much free time on people's hand, they often choose to reunite with families and friends instead of staying at the city where they work or study. Last but not least, the Chinese tradition of getting together on its most important holidays has been around for hundreds if not thousands of years. No matter the distance, no matter the challenges, people will always try to spend time with their families on New Year's Eve, adding more pressure to the transportation system. There are definitely a lot more less obvious reasons that causes 春运. but I think this more than enough sum it up. Now that we know why people choose to travel during this specific time, let's take a look at one of the most brought up topics for ChunYun. Specifically, the challenge of purchasing a train ticket. In China, there are multiple ways in which you can purchase a ticket. The most popular one being the official online website, 12306.com. So when the ChunYun starts, there is usually a set date and time when people can log on and start purchasing a ticket. Sounds pretty straightforward, right? But the reality is rather disappointing. Due to the existence of the scripting softwares, all of the popular tickets are pretty much sold out instantly, leaving you with nothing but a blank page. Although the government has tried to implement systems such as CAPTCHA to help with the issue, some programs are still able to bypass the questions with some machine learning mechanics. The second most used purchasing method is the automatic phone system. And if you ever used this service, you will know the long queue and the waiting time is rather excruciating. By the time it's your turn, your preferred route is probably long gone. And even if you're one of the few lucky ones who got in early, one mispressed button would make you start all over again. Now to the least favorite and the most expensive method, which is also hated by most people. Yep, you guessed it, it's the scalpers. They usually charge up to 3 to 4 times the original price for a ticket, which used to be done by hard labor work, as they need to line up at the station usually up to 24 hours before the sales of the ticket. However, now, with the birth of the scripting programs, with some effective codes, they can rack up hundreds of tickets in an instant at the comfort of their homes. Government has always tried to crack down on these scalpers, but they will never be eliminated as long as there's a market for them. So how has the coronavirus affected ChunYun? The most obvious one being the number of people traveling, of course. The train stations that were packed with little to no space to move in previous years were pretty much empty during the 2021 ChunYun period. This is mostly due to the strict enforcement of COVID quarantine measures. I won't get into the details, but the amount of documents that are required to travel is rather off-putting, and also extremely hard to obtain in some cases, which directly resulted in most of the people not traveling at all during this year's holiday. For example, during 21 ChunYun, only 800 million journeys were done, a 70.9% drop from the 2019 level. Now, with 2022 ChunYun approaching, I wonder what is going to happen. Are we going to pre-pandemic levels? Or is it going to be the same empty station? Leave your thoughts and comments below. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video and also learned from it. Again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I will see you all next time.